HOA Karen lost it over my Tesla, called 911, blocked my garage, then got towed. The sun dipped low over Maple Grove, a quiet suburban enclave where picket fences and manicured lawns whispered order. Ethan, a 28-year-old software engineer, had just pulled his new silver Tesla into his driveway, its sleek curves glinting under the fading light. He'd saved for years to afford it, a symbol of his grind, his quiet rebellion against the monotony of his HOA-ruled neighborhood. But as he stepped out, a sharp voice sliced through the evening calm. "You can't park that thing here." Karen, the HOA president, stormed across the street, her floral blouse flapping like a battle flag. Her face was a storm cloud, eyes narrowed, lips pursed into a line of righteous fury. Ethan froze, keys dangling in his hand. "It's my driveway," he said, voice steady but laced with irritation. "I can park whatever I want." Karen's finger jabbed the air. "That electric monstrosity is an eyesore. The HOA rules clearly state vehicles must be approved." Ethan blinked, incredulous. The rules were absurd, but he'd checked them. Nothing banned electric cars. "Karen, you're making this up. There's no rule against Teslas." Her face reddened, and she pulled out her phone, dialing with theatrical flair. "We'll see about that. I'm calling 911. Ethan's stomach churned. This wasn't just Karen's usual nitpicking or complaints about his unmowed lawn or unauthorized porch light had been annoying. But this was unhinged. Neighbors began to gather, drawn by the commotion. Mrs. Jenkins, the elderly widow next door, peered from her porch, shaking her head. A teenage girl across the street filmed on her phone, smirking. Ethan tried to reason. "Karen, let's talk to the HOA board tomorrow. This is my property." But Karen wasn't listening. She'd parked her SUV haphazardly across his driveway, blocking his garage entirely, as if staking a claim. The police arrived within minutes, 2 officers stepping out with weary expressions. "Ma'am, what's the emergency?" one asked. Karen launched into a tirade, claiming Ethan's Tesla was a neighborhood hazard and violated HOA bylaws. The officer, a stocky man named Officer Daniels, raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, this is a civil matter. You can't call 911 for this." Karen's voice hit a new pitch. "He's disrespecting our community. That car is a danger." Ethan stood silent, arms crossed, letting her unravel. Then came the twist. A soft voice cut through the chaos. "Karen, you're parked illegally." It was Mrs. Jenkins, hobbling forward with her cane, her frail frame belying the steel in her tone. The crowd turned. Mrs. Jenkins, usually quiet and overlooked, pointed at Karen's SUV. "You're blocking Ethan's access. That's against city code." The second officer nodded, checking the scene. "She's right. Ma'am, you need to move your vehicle." Karen's jaw dropped, her authority crumbling. "You can't tell me what to do," she snapped. But the officers were done. They called for a tow truck. The crowd buzzed, phones capturing every moment as Karen's SUV was hooked up, her protests drowned by the tow truck's rumble. Ethan watched, a mix of relief and pity stirring in his chest. Karen wasn't just a nuisance, she was a woman unraveling, clinging to control in a world she couldn't bend. As the tow truck pulled away, Karen stood alone, her phone limp in her hand. The neighbors dispersed, some chuckling, others shaking their heads. Ethan approached Mrs. Jenkins, gratitude softening his voice. "Thanks for stepping in." She smiled faintly. "I've known Karen since she was a girl. She's not evil, just lost. Her husband left her last year. She's been trying to control everything since." Ethan's anger faltered. Karen's outbursts suddenly made sense. A desperate grab for power in a life spiraling out of her grip. He glanced at her, now sitting on the curb, head in her hands. For a moment he considered walking over, offering a word of peace. But the weight of her actions, escalating a petty dispute to 911, blocking his home, held him back. Some bridges burn too fast to rebuild. The next morning, Ethan found a note slipped under his door. Scrawled in shaky handwriting, it read, "I'm sorry. I went too far. Karen." He stared at it, torn. The apology was unexpected, raw, but it didn't erase the chaos she'd caused. He tucked the note away, unsure if he'd respond. The Tesla gleamed in his driveway, a quiet victory, but the neighborhood felt heavier now, fractured by one woman's breaking point. Days later, the HOA board met. Karen didn't show. Mrs. Jenkins, now a quiet hero, proposed revising the outdated rules. Ethan spoke up, advocating for clearer guidelines, less room for personal vendettas. The board agreed, and for the first time, Maple Grove felt like it might breathe easier. But Ethan couldn't shake the image of Karen on the curb, her world collapsing under the weight of her own choices. The story spread online, the teen's video racking up views. Comments poured in, some mocking Karen, others debating HOA power, property rights, and the line between community and control. Ethan read them, his heart heavy. Karen's meltdown was a spectacle, but it was also a mirror, reflecting how quickly pride and pain could spiral into chaos. What do you think? Was Karen's reaction just a power trip, or was it a cry for help? Share your thoughts on where justice lies in this tangled mess of community and conflict.